Today you are going to solve and graph an inequality. So let's take a peek at this one. We have -4 is less than some number plus 1. We can kind of pretend this inequality symbol is an equal sign, and then do the same thing to both sides. So the variable's on the right, so we need to get rid of that plus 1. So the inverse would be to subtract 1 from both sides. So over here on the left, -4 minus 1, that's also the same as -4 plus -1. That would be -5. I'm going to keep my inequality symbol, and then I have x over here. So it's -5 is less than x. So we're going to put an open circle at -5. And then I like to write it with the x first. So I'm going to put the x first, -5 here. The alligator is eating the x. So I'm going to make sure I flip it around so it's still eating the x. Now it's easier for me to see that it says x is greater than -5. So I'm going to shade or draw my arrow to the right. And then just a reminder, the significant number would be -5 because that is where we are placing our circle. All right, for the next one here, our variable is also on the right. It says -3, so the inverse of subtraction is addition, so I'm going to plus 3 to both sides. -5 plus 3 is -2. I'll keep my inequality symbol, and then I just have x because -3 plus 3 is nothing. All right, then I'm going to flip-flop it because I like to have x first. So I'm going to flip the symbol because it has to still eat the x, and then -2. So x is greater than or equal to -2. So I'm going to put a closed circle at -2, and I'm going to shade to the right because x is greater than or equal to -2. All right, there's a few silly things that happen when you have to multiply or divide. So let's kind of just take a peek at these inequalities. If we have 3 is less than 5, and that's a true statement, if we multiply both numbers by 3, we will get 9 over here and 15 over here. 9 is less than 15, so that one is true. Let's see, where's my markers? There we go. So that's a true fact. All right, let's say we multiply both of these numbers by 2. We would get 6 and 10. 6 is less than 10. That's true. Now let's multiply them by -2. A positive times a negative is a negative. So we have -6 and -10. -6 is less than -10. No, that's false. -6 is further to the right on a number line, so it's bigger than -10. Okay, so whenever we multiply both sides by a negative, this is no longer true. So to make it true, we would actually have to flip that inequality and have it face the other way. So it would have to face this way. Okay, I'm going to skip that next example. Same thing for when you divide. You can pause this and look at this if you want to, but if you were to divide both sides by a negative number, it's not going to be true, so you have to reverse that inequality symbol. Okay, so this only happens when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative. All right, so here's the example. So if we are solving this inequality here, we'd have to multiply both sides by 6. Sorry, let me get up and dance a little bit because my light's turned off. Okay, there we go. All right, now there's a negative in this inequality, but I'm multiplying both sides by a 6. So I don't have to reverse my inequality. So I have b is less than -42. But for this next one here, it's showing division by a negative. So I have to multiply both sides by a negative number. And because I'm multiplying both sides by that negative, I'm going to flip that inequality symbol. So now I have b is greater than -42. All right, if we have these, so for this first one here, I would divide both sides by that positive 3. So even though there's a negative, I'm not going to change that inequality symbol. But then for this next one, I would divide both sides by a negative 3. And therefore, I do need to reverse that inequality symbol. Okay, so just pay close attention whether or not you have to reverse that inequality symbol. Then remember, if it's underlined, it would be a closed circle. And then if it's not, it's an open circle. And then less than is to the left, greater than is to the right.